Yeah, I believe
He
that.
goes, they tell us to find a sponsor that we want to be like.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's like, I could see myself being like you.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, dude, that really means a lot. Like, that's really fucking cool.
It is. And you know what really gets me, dude, is I think I told you, is that Ryan, part of his homework is he had to write a paper about an older person. And he chose me. And he wrote on, because he knows me, you know. And he said, this is one of the guys that I go to for anything. Whatever is on my mind. Whatever happens to be afflicting me that day. Or even not. Even if I'm just in a good mood and I want to go see him. I'll go see him. And I'll hang out with him for a couple hours. And I love that. Because he's smart. He's intelligent. But in his words, he doesn't have shit hanging on his walls. But what he has is a lifetime of experience that I need to hear about.
That's
Ryan.
important.
Yes. Because to me, it's like, I don't discredit people that have shit hanging on their walls. I don't. Because it's important to have that.
Yeah.
But it's not the end all to end alls, right? It's not the end of the road. I don't care, you know, when you have an experience, when you've experienced all of the things that you're talking about to somebody, when you've actually experienced them, you're on their level. They get it.
Right.
And they go, God damn, this fucking guy knows what I'm talking about.
Well, and
how did that happen?
That's what the world is tired of, is all of this finger pointing bullshit with no fucking personal experience, no nothing.
Right.
And it's like, my wife tends to pick on me because I have a fucking weird ability to, and I have to constantly work on this. I'm always seeing these behaviors out of people, right? And it's like, well, this is the mirror in effect. And sometimes she thinks that I'm just being judgy. And that I'm kind of being a harsh dick.
Right.
To which I say, no, this is the mirror.
Yeah.
I see that because I have fucking been there.
Yeah.
I know that behavior because I fucking did that.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, I must have been such a fucked up person. I can see a lot of fucked up shit going on all over the place.
Right.
And it's like, I constantly do the, is that still in me? All of that type of evaluation. But more or less, it's what I have come to really understand is it's more about that I've either been there or I am acknowledging and experiencing it and working it now.
What it's called is spot it, you got it.
Yeah.
Spot it, you got
absolutely.
it. And the other thing is, what we tell people all the time too, is that if somebody says something to you that triggers you, then what is it about what that person said is in you?
Right.
What is it about what that person is doing or saying or whatever that is causing you to feel anger, remorse, whatever it is? What is it about that? You got to look at what that person is doing and say, what is the mirror on me?
Well,
what about it?
So on that note, right, I do believe that all of that is valid and it's all 100% accurate and real. Here's where I guess you could say I'm struggling with it, is the whole if you spot it, you got it thing. Could it be if you spot it, you had it?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yes,
That's
absolutely.
the struggle with my fucking brain is, if I'm seeing that, does that mean that that's still fucking in me? Because I don't want that, and I'm acknowledging that, and I work on that, but like I say, is it, if you spot it, you might have had it or worked through it?
And here's the thing. Yes, you may have had it, and yes, you may have worked through it, but the fact is that no matter who you are, what you are, how mentally strong you think you are, or any of those things, you're always, because of conditioning, are going to go back to old behaviors, old thoughts, old things. They're always going to be there. What you do with them is recovery.
Exactly.
That's the difference. So yes, if you see something in them, maybe I do spot it, I got it. Maybe it is spotted, I used to have it. I try now not to have that.
Right.
I try to get away from that as much as I can.
I guess what I'm saying is the action of even acknowledging that is that evidence that you are still struggling with that. Because it's like, in another thought process, it could be, if you're really over all of that,
Why
you're
you
not
thinking
even
about
going to see it.
But see, I don't believe that.
I don't either.
No.
That's what I'm saying. I have this weird fucking struggle going on.
No, I don't
like,
believe
well,
that.
Fuck.
It's like I said, dude, you're talking about guys that have been addicts or drunks or whatever for 20, 30, 40, in my case, 50 years, right? So you got guys that have been conditioned to feel a certain way when A happens, B happens, C happens, right? That's what they go to. It's an old behavior that has been very good to them, or in most cases, very horrible to them. But it's a comfort place to be.
Right.
It's where you go, right? Now, the fact that you're always going to have those thoughts, you know, it's like I say, when I say to people, yeah, there's always going to be that thought somewhere, hey, you know, maybe one drink's not going to hurt, you know?
Yeah, but then you got to think about, what's that going to do?
It's going to ruin your life. Is what it's going to
lead to another one.
Yeah, and another, and 14 more.
If we're honest.
Till the jug is empty. And then, when do I get my next one? Just like it used to be. All the time.
When I'm putting the wrong fucking... Clear up to putting the wrong key in the ignition.
Exactly.
With one fucking eye open.
Exactly. But what you got to remember is that those are things that you've felt and that you've dealt with over the years, right? And that thought process is still there. The only difference is now how we handle that thought is different. Mm-hmm. What do we do about that? Okay, I got the thought. The thought of having a drink would be pretty cool. You know, what do I do with that thought? Do I run with it? Do I do it? Or do I actually work myself through this thing? And look at run the tape ahead. You already know what's going to happen.
I love that. Run the tape ahead.
Yes.
I've been working on that too, it's like, I try to elaborate to the guys in here before that it's like, hey, what it is like we're all fucking stuck in this lag past bullshit.
Yeah.
And it's like we are trying to project and reel the tape forward and look into the future, but we just manage to be stuck in all of this bullshit. So I encourage people to fucking do the shadow work and all of the back end work, because once you clean all that up, the tape is caught up, so to speak.
Yeah.
And then you can start to forward plan and look ahead and everything else without some bullshit unresolved issue knocking on your door, interfering with forward progression.
Exactly. And the thing is, too, you got to remember, man, is that we're all creatures of habit. We all are. And sometimes that habit can be great. I get up every morning, I go to work, I make money, I feed my family. That's a great habit to have. I wake up every morning, I play a game with myself, see if I can grab the bottle before I hit the floor, you know, and now I got the bottle, I win, so I get to start drinking, you know, at fucking 3 a.m. And by the time my feet hit the floor, I'm already drunk. You know, I haven't even pissed yet. You know, is that the kind of repetition you want to do? No. So you look at what you've done and you see those similarities, because there are similar things. Every day I get up and that's the opening line. Every day I get up and well, let's start to put different things in that and right? That's recovery, dude. That's what it's about.
Well, and that's kind of what I was wanting to say is it's like I got into a thing where I was like, how am I going to feel about this decision now, tomorrow?
Yeah.
And what I was saying earlier is basically, you can't fucking do that.
Right.
When you're still fucking fucked up with the past. Like, you don't have there's so much weight and distraction and everything back here that you don't have the mental equipment to run that process of, how am I going to feel about this decision tomorrow?
Right.
Our minds are not that far forward progressing yet.
Right.
They're still stuck in all of this regret, guilt, shame, misery, fucking the past.
The rat wheel of shit.
And like I say, once you clean all that up, then you can start to have those thoughts of, oh shit, I came to the thought, I get up and but I don't have to worry about that anymore.
No.
Oh.
Yeah.
So what am I going to do now?
Exactly.
Oh, my next decision, well, maybe I should think about what I do now, how that's going to make me feel in the future.
Right.
I do a lot of decision making that way.
Yeah.
And it keeps us out of sporadic,
Yeah.
regretful,
fucking
type of stuff.
Absolutely. And those are the worst decisions we can make, are the ones that are a snap decision. You know, because
Well-
generally, well, it depends. I mean, yeah, I
Right?
understand it depends, but
Hey, just a side note, this is one of the most paradoxical fucking shows you'll
Yeah.
ever find.
True that.
Because we do see a lot of angles.
Mm-hmm. We do.
Just putting that out there.
Yeah, you're right.
Because
We
that
do.
is a paradox. Like
Yeah.
you say, there are those times that those snap decisions are shit.
Mm-hmm.
But then there are those times where we get the fuck out of the way, let
Yeah.
go and let God, so
Yeah.
to speak,
Yep.
and those snap decisions are gold.
Our goal. Well, and the other thing too is that, and I don't know, the things that you do, the specialties that you have, you personally, were they in existence back in the 30s?
Bro,
Been a long time then.
this is my jam.
Okay, I mean, has it been?
The hypnosis has been used, it's on record in 1500.
Oh, okay. So it's something that's been around a while.
The word mesmerized
Mm-hmm.
was the original word for hypnosis.
Okay.
So when you're mesmerized,
Yeah.
you're.
Yeah.
It was a guy named Franz Anton Mesmer that, and then it kind of changed into magnetism. They called it animal magnetism.
Mm-hmm.
Then it morphed into nervous sleep because we're relaxed but we're not asleep.
Right. Our brain is working.
And so they called it a sleep, like a nervous sleep, right?
Yeah.
But now it's just known as pure relaxation, to where the conscious mind is taking a side seat and the unconscious mind is open for suggestion.
Got it.
But it had, dude, the Civil War, anesthesia was very slim.
Or non-existent. Yeah, completely non-existent.
Lots of hypnosis.
Oh, okay.
And I argue with people online all the time. They're like, that's pseudoscience, pseudo bullshit. And I'm like, are you fucking crazy?
Yeah.
Just do some research, bro.
Yeah.
And it's very effective. And yeah, it's been around for a very long time.
It'd be interesting to see this, to see the statistics of how many folks back in the 30s that were when AA and all of that, the idea of a 12-step program and such came about, and how many of them used hypnosis, if any. I'm sure some of them did.
I'm a huge history nerd, and so I love the story of Dr. Bob and Bill W. and all of that stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And fucking A, bro. In the early 1900s, there was an insane spiritual movement happening in this country. Insane, dude. Like, one of my favorite authors, Neville Goddard, he's like one of the masters of law of attraction.
Mm-hmm.
And he died in like the 50s or maybe the 60s. But I'm telling you, dude, I have tons of information that is all leading back to. So this guy, Phineas Parkhurst Quimby, was alive in the 1800s. He is one of the leading people now. Like, a lot of the work being done now is off of his foundation.
Mm-hmm.
And when I came across that name through a weird coincidence and synchronicity, I was like, that's way too fucking weird.
Yeah.
What if I'm that guy?
Mm-hmm.
Because what's happened is he's very unheard of and he's very unknown about. And what he did was he worked with a woman named Mary Baker Eddy, and all of her work,
Mm-hmm.
but she went and lived with him and apprenticed with him, and there's like speculation that maybe she hijacked some of his shit. And so in this weird way, I feel like I'm here to reignite the credit that he deserves and shine a light more on him, because he's been lost in the mix, and a lot of it is from his discoveries.
Oh. Wow.
A little interesting
That's
side
cool.
note.
Oh, that's cool.
But the book that I have of his I will let you borrow it.
Yeah.
Dude, it's really simple little pamphlet. Essentially.
Yeah.
I swear to God, under 200-page little fucking pamphlets are the most powerhouse books I've ever read in my life. And I have tons of them.
Yeah, I agree. The one that did it for me was The Primal Wound.
Yeah.
That one knocked me on my butt.
Yeah.
You know, because as an adopted kid, I read about me.
I still need to read that.
It's
I have the
amazing.
book, but I haven't read it
her
yet.
perception or her perspective is just as a eyewitness of what her daughter, I believe it was, that she adopted. She had 2 natural kids and then adopted a third daughter. And it was her observing how this kid acted and what she did and the things she said versus what her natural kids did.
Right.
I'm sitting there
different.
reading my fucking life story, and it blew me away. And the guy that it was so weird because I was in treatment, and it was laying on the table in the common room, you know, the kitchen.
I love these stories.
And it was just laying there. And the guy that left it there was an adopted kid as well. I had no idea what this book was even about, so I turned it over to read the synopsis, and I went, that sounds interesting. I couldn't put it down. I read it all through the night. And then the next morning, I went to therapy class or whatever, and I talked to my therapist, and I said, what do you think about The Primal Wound? Do you believe it? And he said, absolutely. And I said, really? And he goes, yeah, it's not just a theory, it's real.
Oh,
and I said, well, because I just read my fucking life story last night. And he goes, you read the whole book? I go, all of it. And I said, and I'd read it again. You know, and he said, well, there you go. You know?
What fascinates me more than anything is what the fuck in your brain was like Primal Wound.
I know.
You know what I'm saying?
I know.
And earlier when you were telling the story about pushing the button, my mind is always like, if I were you, I would be wondering about myself, what in the fuck made my finger do that?
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, that changed the whole trajectory of your life.
Totally.
And it's like, I can't help but think, what fascinating thing caused that? Because, like you say, it's a whole different game.
Oh, it was
so
completely
wild
different,
to
dude.
think
It
about
went
that
from
kind of shit.
this direction to that direction.
Right.
In the span of 2 seconds to push the button.
Yeah, like
And
that
and for that
blows me
guy
away.
to say, here's the latest Rolling Stones.
Yeah.
That's all the time it took. And then that first note hit. And I was shocked. You know, I'd never heard anything like that. And it just swept me away.
Yeah.
And it completely changed my trajectory in my life. Not just my music, my life.
Well, and that's what they say is like, I think Abraham Hicks says, like, there's no such thing as coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
And then she said something about, like, they are incidents that coincide.
Coincide.
And it's like, yeah.
Yeah, when you break it down like that, yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
yeah. And
absolutely.
it's like, there isn't any such thing as coincidence, dude.
Mhm.
Like, it's something put that there, something within you, some higher power, whatever, was like, I need that book.
Yeah. Well, what was amazing
And
to
it's
me
like
is
Primal Wound is a weird name to be just automatically drawn to in a. You know what I mean?
But again, when I looked at the back of it and it talked about adoption, I could relate. So that was my first hook.
Relation.
Was I could relate to it because I was adopted.
Right.
And let's see what she's talking about. And the Primal Wound part of it, the name, really didn't enter into my thoughts until I read the book. And then I understood exactly what the Primal Wound was and what it stands for.
So break that down for us.
Well, essentially, it's when a baby is born and comes into the world, they're fully aware of everything. The smells, tastes, sounds, feel, everything. They know. They're squeezed out of the birth canal. They feel that. Everything is there.
In hypnosis, we say that up until age 7, the critical faculty, there is no separation between you and the outside world.
Right. Okay.
Exactly like you just described.
So when that baby comes out, the natural flow of things is that baby is now laid on the mama's breast, and that connection is made. because that baby has been inside the womb, feeding from the mother, hearing from the mother, tasting from the mother, all of that. And now that baby's put on her breast, and now the connection is made. Babies that are not put on that chest and don't receive that connection suffer the primal wound.
So what I would say to all of that is the act of doing that was an innate primal instinct. And the fact that we have eliminated that from the birth process in hospitals,
right,
to a large degree,
right,
it's very rushed and stuff. I look into this stuff a lot. It's very rushed. It's very unpleasant, right? They fucking know.
Yeah.
And it's the fact that you don't do that, that is
that's the primal wound. And it also affects kids that are actually taken from the mother and put in a NICU or in a incubator.
Oh yeah,
or stuff like that. Anytime there is not that initial connection between the birth mother and the child, that is the primal wound.
Well, and the umbilical cord is just long enough for that to happen, and all of that connection should all still be flowing and running and everything.
And it doesn't in an adopted child, in a person that's put into an incubator, in a person that maybe, like you say, has an issue that has to be rushed out of the room immediately and taken care of. That is the primal wound.
And now that I think about this, 15 years ago when I had my daughter, that didn't happen.
There you go.
With the umbilical cord.
Is that right?
Like, I was so excited, I was ready to cut the damn thing.
Yeah.
The doctor was like, calm down, bro.
Yeah, whoa.
And I didn't know any of this.
Yeah.
And I'm sad about that now, but it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But it is being a lot more talked about, a lot more, it is.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of this stuff is literally being systematically suppressed so that we don't do it.
And Nancy Verrier is a lady that wrote the book, and I actually sent her, and they have an email address on there. So I sent her an email and thanked her for her book, and everything.
They love that.
And she responded and said, I am so thrilled to hear you say that. I'm very, very happy, blah, 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 blah. That was my little glimpse into the literary world. But it was really cool. And, because I was moved by it.
I bet that felt good.
Oh, it changed a whole lot of how I felt about things.
Yeah.
It did. In the grand scheme of things.
Right.
And it didn't, it wasn't like one of those things where it was so overpowering and all of that. It wasn't nothing like that. It was very subtle in the changes it made in me. But it made changes in me. It made different wavelengths, different thought process. It definitely did. And then when I found out the next day that this guy Mike had left it on the table, he was reading it, and he just set it there and forgot about it, And I said, well, there was a reason you left it there, bro. I said, because I read the entire thing. And he goes, well, I just can't get through it, His situation was completely different than mine, in terms of his adoption.
And that's fascinating.
Exactly.
That you were like, fucking can't put it down, and he's like, I can't
even get started on it. Doesn't make sense to me.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like,
and these are two people that theoretically are having the same issue.
Exactly.
They were adopted. There was no connection made at the initial birth, and that has caused. Well, his is over here, mine's over here, and yet in the same test tube, there's two different things happening.
Yeah.
Right. Imagine that times 1 billion. However many kids are adopted a year.
Fuck.
Just think of the amount. But the thing is, the way she described her daughter and the actions that her daughter took and the feelings she had and the thoughts she had and all of that was me. It was me. Her daughter was a musician, and none of the other kids didn't have a desire to be a musician. She did, and she became one. And that's what she does to this day, is she plays music. Yeah.
Nice.
So, it was all these different things.
And same with you.
And same with me. So it was weird. I'm telling you, Wayne, I read my life story.
Do you know what weird means?
I'm sure you're going to tell me.
It means magical.
Yeah, well. It was magical.
So I love when people say weird.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, it was weird.
Well, it was. And I got to tell you, man, it changed my whole trajectory while I was in treatment. And I came there for a sex addiction. And yet were things about my situation that I just couldn't really wrap my head around. I didn't know why I felt the way I did and all those things.
Sure.
That answered all those questions.
Dude.
And when I went to therapy the next day, Doug's looking at me like, "What did you do?" You know, and I said, "Bro, I read that book, The Primal Wound." He goes,
He's like, "Thank God,
yes.
you just made my job a lot easier."
Yes. And it was like, man, dude, I'm telling you, dude, look at this. This is crazy. You know?
I love it when my clients have that type of thing.
That
when
epiphany,
when
light bulb
take
moment.
it on themselves to do some of their own work.
Yeah.
And you know, it does. It makes me really happy and proud.
Oh,
to
sure.
Be like,
because
fuck yeah, dude. Like, now we can jive on that.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a very interactive person. Like, when I did my speech up there the other night, I wanted feedback so bad.
I know.
And like, so I've decided that I don't think I'm really much of a lecturer as much as an interactive teacher. You know what I mean?
I do.
I really like the feedback and all of that loop.
Yeah, the loop.
Yeah.
And hence the problem.
I don't want to be a fucking pedestal fucking finger pointer. I don't like that. We don't need that in the world today.
No.
Like, we've been talking about this all morning. Like, we don't need any more of that.
I truly hope that in your future endeavor with this company that they allow you that opportunity. Because
they will.
That's why I'm not there anymore. I would not bend to that. I'm not the guy that sits up and lectures. Page 2 now, everybody.
Yeah,
I'm not that guy.
I won't. That's the thing.
And I told them in the beginning. I said, "Look, man, this is not how I do my groups.
Yeah.
If you want me to do what I do," and the owner was like, "Oh yeah, I get what you talk about. I like to run groups like that too, every now and again." And I said, "Well, I do it every time,
right?
And that's how I operate."
Well, and that's why we're doing this,
mm-hmm.
is so that we can help others out there that aren't in a rehab or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And we have our own little dialogue, so that's just fine and dandy.
Absolutely.
But I was reading through a little bit of step 2 last night,
mm-hmm.
and I was going to mention that since I am far less familiar with the steps, maybe you could recap, and because you're badass with the steps, and maybe you could tell us what step 2 is, all of what you think about it, and then I can give you my clinical assessment or whatever.
Yeah, well, let's look at the actual
on that. I have a book right here.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
There's this one, the 12 Steps and 12 Traditions.
Yes, that's the one.
But so here's step 2. I think this portion is just kind of talking about what the chapter kind of entails,
mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
But step 2, the quote in here is, "Came to believe that a power greater than ourselves could restore us to sanity."
Right. Now, the pivotal word there, or phrase there, is came to. Came to believe, which insinuates that a person is not ready to believe when they first get here, which applies to about 90% of people. They all have something against God, a higher power. The mere thought of saying that something is greater than us, that I can't even see proof that exists, and yet I need to pray to this thing. I don't even go to church, asshole. What makes you think and the minute I hear God, I'm out the fucking door. I'll go have another beer.
Yeah.
You know, and listen, I get it. I didn't believe in organized religion either. You know, I'm dead set against it. You know, and I must say to this day, I'm not a big fan of organized religion.
Oh,
but I'm very spiritual, and I understand that my higher power is God. And I choose to call him that. And that's okay. A lot of guys don't. You know?
Yeah.
But the pivotal words there are came to believe. So it already assumes that you are not of the ilk, that God is everything, God is great, God is the world, God is the universe, you know, and all of that. You're not that person.
No.
So what do we do to help you get to a level where you can say, okay, I understand there has to be something greater than me. Might not be God, maybe it's something else. You know, God could stand for a group of drunks, the AA group. It could be anything. But your ultimate goal is to come to a belief, and they say in the book, God as you understand him. Right? Well, God could just be a euphemism or whatever. It could just be a term called God, you know. But my God, let's say, is the universe, the great creator, all of these things. You guys want to call him God, fine. But I'm going to go with that. Okay, God's fine. But the bottom line is, my belief system tells me that it's the universe. It's the grand universe. It's all of these things, you know, that are greater than me.
Yeah.
And when I had that kid call me on his way down to the fucking valley, and he was in the middle of the Salt River Canyon, and he called me and said, I just realized what my higher power is.
Yeah.
And that I believe there is something, because man could not have done this.
Yeah.
And he said that, and he took his time to call me and tell me that. I went, wow. You know, I said, there you go, man. Talk about a light bulb moment. That was a searchlight moment, you know, and he came to it.
Yeah, but I was just sorry I didn't
go
cut
ahead.
you off. There was some really good stuff in this is the NA 12-step on ideas to maybe open up about to come into this step, right? And it talks a lot about how just simply observing other people around you when you're in meetings.
That's huge.
And listening to other people's stuff and how they came into finding their higher power and things like that.
Yep.
But yeah, dude, I was talking just the other night with Fred, and I was talking to him about, because the other woman that was there, Jennifer, she does neuro brain training.
Mm-hmm.
It's all electronic. And I was asking her, like, what type of resistance are you having? And it's all skepticism. Right? And I was talking to her about the kind of fix me attitude. And me and Fred got to talking about the importance of some type of spirituality within the recovery. And he said, yeah, dude, he's like, there's a lot of people out there that if they don't have that
spiritual
they're
connection,
more atheistic maybe, they don't have a spiritual connection, they're really down in the dumps, like it's all up to them. You know what I mean? A lot of pressure and stuff like that.
Yep.
And I have noticed that people that aren't open to spirituality have a very much more difficult time.
True.
And I observe this and notice this more and more through my own experience. I was very closed off to God, religion, spirituality, all these things. It's like, in this weird way, I've always been open to there's something after this life and there is some higher power, right? But my fucked upness came from, what is it?
Yeah.
Who is it? Where is it? All
gotta
of those
see it.
weird
I
questions.
gotta see
right?
it.
Yeah. Like,
show me.
Right.
Yeah.
And really surrendering and putting more faith, I guess you could say, into the possibilities of higher power.
Yeah.
I do not think that I could have got where I am today without that.
I don't think so either.
Like, I really just don't see it.
No, I don't either.
And just to be honest and clear, there is a whole sector of people out there that I find, it would seem like in the psychedelic community, where they have kind of found a way to keep maybe some of that atheistic view, but the psychedelics are what's giving them that spiritual connection.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I do.
And so I do see like these two walks of life where there's like this whole spiritual approach to recovery, and now there is becoming, with new science and all this, stuff,
right?
Ayahuasca and mushrooms and ibogaine and all these other things.
Yep.
that's all proven to be very effective too. And I think that is why, because it's an involuntary spiritual experience, you could say, maybe, right? Because by taking the drug, you this just gets out of the way. Like, it's like, maybe some of that's where I feel like psychedelics are very effective in recovery, is when we're super fucking analytical and we're constantly logical and thinking our way around our recovery.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I do.
Whereas sometimes a guy just needs to kind of be blown out of his own mind.
Get his mind
so
out
to
of the
speak,
way.
right?
Yeah. I agree. I think, I know that I can only relate to one guy when it comes to the psychedelic thing, and he had just the worst time in treatment, and it wasn't working for him, and he could not get past the higher power thing.
Right.
He had all of these roadblocks up, and he was just obstinate about everything, and it was bad. And in Prescott, they came up with a psychedelic clinic. There was a doctor there that was, getting people through these guided trips or whatever. Ketamine was exactly what he used.
Yeah.
And
it's like one of the
this guy
clinically
came
used.
back and was a completely different guy.
Dude, I'm telling
Completely
you.
different.
Like
and
I
up
say,
until that point, I must tell you that I was dead set against any kind of drugs being used.
Yeah.
I was like of the old school ilk in that sense. You want to be sober, then you're sober. Don't do a fucking thing. But the more I look at it, it's like, look, man, if this alcohol is, or maybe heroin or whatever it is, if this particular thing is what dragged you into the depths of your depravity and where you ended up, which caused you to be in this place now to look for help, if that is part of a legitimate way to find help, then go for it.
Yep.
If it works, God bless you. If it doesn't, we'll find something that does.
Well, and that's why I'm very particular about that, right? Like, I want to make it very clear that we do not want to trade addiction for addiction. We're not looking for another escape route. This is not an escape tactic.
It's in addition to.
I encourage people to use these in very sacred, ritualistic, intentional manners, and to use them as tools. A lot of psychedelic discovery came about through psychology,
right?
Specifically
Timothy Leary,
right? And
he was a psychiatrist.
Like MDMA was created by psychologists, ketamine, like all of these different things. Why? To open us up to that more spiritual aspect of things.
That's right.
And I do see that some people that struggle with that spiritual end of things, I do feel like psychedelics, like I say, and I never made that connection until now, that's what it is it blows them into the spiritual side without their mind being able to get in the way.
Exactly. And a lot of times it does get in the way. Now, in days of yore, it used to be that it was about getting more intense with your sponsor, getting more intense with the book, reading more about what it is you're trying to learn.
And I believe that.
Oh, I do too.
There's a lot of epiphanies that can come from sinking.
But an absolute shortcut, if you will, for lack of a better word, is to utilize these drugs. And these drugs offer you that, as you say, get the mind out of the way. All of your preconceived notions and everything else are all set to the side now. Now we look into your vision is in a direction that you may or may not have ever looked at.
Right.
So maybe that's the doorway to a better recovery.
Right.
And in that sense, when it's presented that way,
yes,
I'm all about it.
Yes.
Because my whole thing is, and I tell these guys, and I know you've heard me say it, I don't care what you do, get and stay sober.
Yep.
Period.
Yep.
I don't give a fuck what you do. If the steps don't work for you, let's find something that does.
Well, and what's cool is they're starting to prove that those things are not addictive.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So but
mishandled though, they're deadly.
Absolutely. And not only that, there is a lot of people within the spiritual community that that don't approve of that.
Right.
They call it spiritual bypass.
Right, exactly.
Because you're not doing all of the work that's opening the mind
Right.
to
It's a
allow
shortcut.
the spirituality.
It's a shortcut.
Yeah, exactly. And it is.
Yeah.
So there's no reason to beat around the bush on that. It is a shortcut.
Yeah.
However, if that shortcut opens you up to step 2,
Mm-hmm.
and like I say, all within mind that this is not an escape, this is not another drug, this is
Right.
not another avenue of escape,
Yeah.
then yeah, I think that they're totally fine.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like you say, as long as it gets to a point where that person, the subject, can actually get his mind out of the way and allow himself to be afforded that vision that he may or may not have otherwise had,
Mhm.
or it may have taken him years to come up with that. If it is indeed a shortcut that gets you right to that spot you want to be in, so be it.
That's what
And dude, I can't sit here and say, well, I don't care what you do, get and stay sober. I can't make that statement and say, but don't use ketamine.
Right.
And don't use, whatever, ayahuasca or any of that. Don't do that.
Yeah.
But do anything else.
Right.
Well, that's bullshit.
Yep.
I'm not that guy. If ayahuasca works for you or if fucking ketamine works for you, God bless you.
Well, and that's
As long as you're not sitting at the bar next week with a fucking beer in your hand. I don't care what you do.
And it's like, there is a whole thought process out there that there's a lot of people that are like, oh, well, you need to earn this and you need to be initiated and this and this and this and that. And it's like, if you think about mystery schools back in the day, they say that Plato sat outside of the fucking mystery school for 5 years.
Yeah.
Until they would let him in.
Yeah.
And so there's this rite of passage idea through all of this stuff. To which I say, we're in the age of information. Why don't we give people more credit? Why can't we fucking ascend a little bit faster? Why, we are discrediting people by, I think that those are forms of control, and that they say that this occult wisdom and these mystics and stuff were secret to keep the information out of nefarious people's hands.
Yeah, I've heard that.
But guess what? We're fucking there.
Yeah.
The nefarious people have the goddamn information, and it's a cult, and it's secret to all the people that could do good with it.
Yeah.
And that's where we're at. And it's like, I feel like the whole spiritual bypass and this, you have to be initiated and come into your own and all those things, I respect all of that and everything I do. But another part of me says, hey man, what if we are discrediting people, and maybe it's time in the world where we fucking get this shit going. It's time to change things.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
the old ways aren't working anymore, obviously.
Right. Yeah, I kind of halfway agree with that, in terms of, again, you have to come from a place where the steps in and of themselves, and the book and all of that, and meetings and sponsors and all that bullshit has helped you and has gotten you sober, and you are now at X amount of days, months, years, whatever, sober, then it worked for you. Don't fuck with it. Just leave it be.
Yeah.
Because it's been here since 35 and it's still working. And the only thing they ever really did was add 6 more steps. It started with 6, it ended with 12. And that's it.
Mm-hmm.
Now maybe the forward has changed. The stories in the back have changed and all of that. But the first 164 pages are the same they were in 1935. Minus the fact that they did add 6 more steps. Right. But they used to run people through those steps upstairs at Dr. Bob's house. And they'd all go, he'd take people up there and they'd come down recovered. Period. They were done. 6 steps, done. In one night. That's the way it worked. And then...
So why the fuck, what happened to that?
Well, they added 6 more steps, and now they wanted people to take it a lot lighter. In other words, not rush through things.
Yep.
It became one of those things where, look, man, it's taken you your entire life to get to this spot right here. Well, it's going to take you a little while to get to that other spot you want to
Right.
get to. So we're going to acknowledge that, and we're going to run with it.
Yeah.
And we're going to say, okay, we're going to take our time. You're going to get a sponsor, and that sponsor is going to assist you in getting through these steps, however long it takes, right? And the one thing I do not do is put a time limit on anybody.
No.
Because I want you to know this shit and to feel it right here.
Right.
That's when I know you're getting it.
So that's where I think that a lot of the mentality in the rite of passage and initiation type of stuff is, it's like, that is a good way, and that is the right, there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
What I'm simply saying is that, like, things are different now in today's world, and like, I'm of the thought that we need to blend both.
Yeah.
It's not like it's just like our own personal lives. We don't cut or eliminate things from the past. We integrate them.
Yeah, into our today.
And it's just like, I believe that with the medical field and holistic medicine as well.
Yeah, I do too.
It's like, we don't need to cut off fucking mainstream medicine and doctors and trauma and we need all of that.
Of course.
We are in a time now of, we need lots of integrating the past, the old wisdoms,
yes,
with newer technology type of thing. Like, Japan is one of the leading countries on the planet for a simple reason. They are very ingrained in their ancient cultures, and they still keep ancient traditions.
Yes.
But with all of those understandings, they are very open to the new and very extremely technologically advanced.
Yes.
And dude, they're the way showers of the world.
Absolutely.
And I believe that's why, because they have understood the importance of integration of the old and the new.
Yeah, and I believe that too. I do believe that integration is huge, and there are old timers that will tell you that's bullshit. If you got a question, it's in the book. You know? And I've had sponsors tell me that. Hey, listen, man, what do I do about it? It's in the book. Don't tell me where, which means I got to read the whole fucking thing.
And dude, I really appreciate people like that. They have a weird wisdom within them that knows, I'm not going to give you the answer. I'm going to make you fucking get it.
A lot of it's generational too.
Yeah, you're right.
That's how they learn, that's how you'll learn.
Right.
Yeah.
I just can appreciate that.
Yeah.
It's not what I would do to somebody.
No.
I'm like, fucking, oh, dude, here you go, like, right here.
And that's the thing, man. I don't care what people do. Like I said about the, all the drugs and all these other things. I mean, I would rather that drugs aren't involved. But at the same point, not everyone just gets this shit willy-nilly. Not everyone can go and be a person that's, okay with someone telling them, it's in the book.
Here's one thing I want to say about the drugs. In a systemized, subsidized facility, they would not condone that. I feel like marijuana is not a big deal if you're struggling with heroin. And if it's like you say, if that works, then it works. Whereas through a subsidized outfit, they're not okay with marijuana, but they're okay with fucking Xanax.
Right.
So,
and Trazodone and all the other ones they love to give guys.
You know what I'm saying?
And I do.
So I do believe, and just like Paula has said before, that all of our pharmaceuticals are derived from natural medicines in the first place.
At least you hope so, anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like, so I do have I'm okay with it. It's what I'm saying as far as society and things like that. In my mind, it's a wash.
Yeah.
You're still, the systemized, subsidized places are still using drugs to help them with the recovery.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
To mitigate the journey.
Right.
And that's what, a lot of people do that. There are those also, and there are clinics also, that refuse to give anybody drugs.
See, and that is my type. Like, if you're going to do it, then do it. Right? And in under that premise, yes, you can rightfully say no drugs, marijuana bad, this, that, bad. You can tell me that. if
Mhm.
you are doing it that way.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're prescribing motherfuckers other stuff,
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to hear about my methods.
That's right. That's right.
But like you say, if there are clinics out there that are doing that,
Mm-hmm.
dude, I think that's really badass.
Yeah, well, there are clinics.
I would love to
I know a few of
more
them
about that.
by name. And the fact is that they do not prescribe drugs.
That's
They
awesome.
allow no drugs to be on the premises at
Good.
all, pharmaceutical or otherwise. You know.
Now, what? So then, that's got to be some kind of conflict with. Oh well, what about me? I have ADD. What about me? I'm bipolar. What about me? Blah 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 blah.
That is usually all discussed in the intake, and if it's determined that they truly do need to be on a drug for whatever reason, it has nothing to do or very little to do with their addiction, then they're asked to leave.
No shit.
Yes,
Dude, that's top notch in my book.
mine too.
And like you say, if you're gonna do it that way, then I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Teach me how to do it.
And there
that
is
way.
no, all right, nobody gets drugged except for you.
Right.
We're going to give you a little something because you got ADD. But,
yeah,
you know, none of that.
I think that's
None of
fucking
that.
awesome.
It's like you come in here as a user, as a drunk, whatever you are, you come in here with that affliction. We are going to cure you of that affliction, and we're going to allow you the opportunity to remain sober, but we're not going to use drugs to do it.
Dude, I
Of
love
any
that.
kind.
And
that means you can barely get aspirin. You know, you can get aspirin. They'll give you an aspirin. They'll give you a Tylenol. They'll give you, acetaminophen or whatever. But that's as high as it gets.
I love that because I truly do believe that is possible and it's doable.
Yes.
And people that are running things that way are 100% on board with the fact that our mind is the ultimate power.
It is. And that's the thing, man. It's all about readjusting the way you think.
Yep.
And the importance of, like certain aspects of your life that have led you to this point are no longer valid. You have to let them go. It doesn't mean that they don't exist, because they do exist. They will always be there. But how you handle the as it comes up, how you handle it is what you learn in recovery.
Yeah.
And that's why I always say, I want guys to learn how to live.
Yep.
How do I live without alcohol, drugs, sex, gambling, whatever the fuck it is?
Right.
How do I live without it? Because it's been 80% of my life up until this moment. So where do I put in the middle of it? That's what you need to learn in recovery.
Well, and that's what it all
is. And drugs
is.
aren't going to help you learn that.
It's all our thought processes that are in those lulls or in between doing things, the whole idle time.
Absolutely. That's what it's about, dude. And it's all about learning how to reprogram our brains to think in different ways.
Bingo.
That's what it is. And if your work, you're in the hypnosis and all that, is an aid to that, God bless you. Keep doing it. Because that in and of itself, I wouldn't say is a shortcut, but it certainly is something to get to the root of why it is I do the things I do to myself. Why do I do them?
It's all about the root, man.
Yes. And if you can get to that root and you can fully process it and you can get it to where it's no longer a vivid fucking trauma memory, it's now become just a regular memory. My first car was a Chevy.
Yeah.
That kind of memory, a long-term memory, so be it.
Yep.
Do it, because that, my friend, is why you drink. That is why you use drugs. That is why, and it also relates to people like myself that are adopted. The primal wound is a very big contributor to all of our ailments.
Well,
it is.
It is 100%.
Yes.
I was just going to add to that, not to mention the things that happen in the womb.
Yes.
And our previous lives.
Yes, absolutely. Oh yeah.
Like, yeah, that's a huge thing. I'm really big on past life regression.
Mm-hmm.
I think that people get a lot of power out of that.
Yeah.
And sometimes it literally, a lot of our fear and holding back and all of this stuff is literally confusion.
Yeah.
Why the fuck do I feel like this?
Yeah.
Why nobody can give me an answer as to what the fuck's going on with me?
Why am I feeling this
And
way?
then you go see the witch doctor on the hill and he's like, well, did you consider this, and this? And you're like, oh my God, all of that makes sense. And you just said everything to a T. And Holy shit! Wow. Okay.
I think I've told you this before, but I did an whatever you call that, or regression back, former past life regression back in the 80s. And the guy filmed it. And there I am sitting there, and he's asking me questions, and I'm answering him in fluent French.
Yeah.
Fluent French.
Dude.
Like I lived there. And it was like fucking amazing. And then he says, "You want to see something trippy?" After he woke me up, he goes, "You want to see something trippy?" And I said, "Yeah." And he put it on the tape with VHS back then. He puts it on and he goes, "Watch this." And you see me going through this, the situation of getting under and doing all of these things. And then he started asking me questions. Luckily, he spoke French, and he started asking me questions in French, and I answered him in French. And there I was. I don't know a word of French, but evidently I do. In those days, in that life.
That's why I tell people, so your unconscious mind, it's an infinite data bank.
Mm-hmm.
Your unconscious mind is what is your connection to the infinite field of all possibility.
Yeah.
And so, yes, your unconscious mind, that's how regression works.
That's
you
right.
access the unconscious
mind.
and it has all the data you can dream of.
A myriad of
Yes.
stuff. Yes. I agree 100%. And I was living proof of it. I saw it happen.
Yeah.
I saw it happen to me. There I was. And there was no mistake, and that was me sitting there.
That's really badass.
Oh,
Talk about validating the shit out of past life regression.
It totally blew my mind. And,
Yeah.
and I was like, what the fuck? And he was like, yeah. He goes, I've never had anybody do that before. I've had people, he goes, I've had people speak in English accents, like from England and such. I've never had anybody actually change languages and speak like you're a commoner, like you're there. You're a person who lives there, with the accent, everything. I was speaking in fluent French, which is amazing to me. And like I said, for me, it was a blowout because I saw it.
Do you know French?
No. Parlez-vous a humma? That's about it. Honest to God, I know no French at all. Never took it in school. Never had a lick to do with it. Never.
Wow.
And there it was. And it went on for like 10 minutes. He was talking to me for at least 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And he was asking me questions, and I was answering him questions in fluent French.
Nice.
Yeah, it was a trip.
I love it, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, it for a lot of people, it gives them a different inner knowing.
Oh yeah.
Like it's hard for anybody outside to try to understand or whatever.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it's all internal.
It's
you're like, I feel that. I know that's exactly fucking true. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes.
And so people can think whatever they want about it. I don't give a damn. I know it works. I know it's real.
Dude, it worked for me the
I've
other
done
night,
it
just sitting in there with you doing your little deal.
Yeah.
I mean, I felt those things. Like I said, it wasn't, you were taking me somewhere, but I wasn't going there. I was going somewhere else. It was like I was fighting you every step of the way.
Well,
but
that's
it was
good.
I think in my mind, I was like, I want to prove this guy wrong.
Oh, yeah.
Not wrong. I want to prove that it doesn't work for everybody.
Some people will do that. That's what I'm saying.
For me, it was like, holy shit. It was like, okay, here we go. This is where Wayne wants me to go. Nope, I'm going over here. And then here it is. Nope, I'm going over here.
Yeah.
But it was so weird. It was a very strange situation.
Yeah.
It really was.
Well, good.
I
We'll
loved
have to
it.
do some more of it.
Oh, we are going to do more of it.
Yeah. Well, shit, man.
Yeah.
I think that was a pretty good
I think so,
step
man.
too.
Bye-bye now.
Have a great day, guys.
Have a great day. We'll see you next time.